The USSR, on the other hand, navigated a peculiar and somewhat cloistered journey in its encounter with bodybuilding. The inception of the sport in the Soviet Union is somewhat nebulous, filtering through in sparse quantities from the Western world in the early to mid-20th century. While physical fitness was always at the fore of Soviet ideology, famously encapsulated in the GTO, Ready for Labor and Defense program, which aimed to create a robust, able-bodied citizenry, bodybuilding as a distinct sport was not met with similar enthusiasm. The reasons for bodybuilding's suppression in the USSR are multilayered, intertwining politics, ideology, and a distinctly Soviet perception of what constituted acceptable athletic pursuits. Initially, bodybuilding was construed as a bourgeois pastime, a narcissistic preoccupation with the self that was diametrically opposed to the collectivist ethos of Soviet society. In the eyes of Soviet officials, the sport was not just apolitical but counter-political, symbolizing an individualistic pursuit that could potentially unravel the tightly knit fabric of socialist ideology. Furthermore, it lacked the clear, objective metrics of victory that other sports possessed, like the fastest time or highest score, which were seen as being more in line with a logical and utilitarian Soviet spirit. Bodybuilders in the USSR therefore were veiled under an iron curtain of obscurity, navigating their passions in clandestine gyms and underground gatherings, where barbells were often handmade and information about training and nutrition was passed surreptitiously among the tight-knit community. The ban had profound impacts not just on the athletes, but on the entire sporting community, bifurcating the world of physical fitness into the sanctioned and the suppressed. Athletes possessing Herculean physiques sculpted in the shadows were banned from showcasing their dedication on global stages, truncating potential careers and suppressing a subculture that, in other nations, was blossoming into a mainstream spectacle. Likewise, the sports community was bereft of the innovative training techniques and dietary regimes that bodybuilders, always on the vanguard of physical optimization, developed. In a hypothetical alternate history where bodybuilding was not quashed in its infancy within the USSR, it's enthralling to envision the potential symbiosis between Soviet sports science and the empirical, trial-and-error approach of bodybuilders worldwide. The USSR, with its meticulous and state-sponsored approach to athlete development, could have potentially revolutionized training methodologies, nutrition, and perhaps even facilitated a more stringent approach to doping control. The suppression of bodybuilding in the USSR offers a fascinating glimpse into how sport, politics, and culture are invariably intertwined, each shaping and reflecting the values, fears, and aspirations of a society. It also propels our imagination into a what-if scenario, teasing out visions of Soviet muscle on global stages and, perhaps, a distinctly different cultural and political expression forged in the crucible of athletic and aesthetic pursuit. One cannot negate the impact that a flourishing bodybuilding culture might have had on the Soviet Union's societal perceptions of the human body. In a nation where athletic prowess was often framed through the lens of utility and collective achievement, bodybuilding's more aesthetic and individualistic focus might have injected a nuanced discourse into Soviet society. Imagining this alternate scenario also involves speculating about potential influencers and figureheads that might have arisen from the USSR's bodybuilding scene. Just as Arnold Schwarzenegger, a charismatic and successful bodybuilder, became a cultural icon and eventually a political figure in the USA, could there have been a Soviet counterpart? An individual who, through the sheer force of personality and physical achievement, transcended sport to become a beacon of inspiration, motivation, and possibly a pivot towards more individualistic pursuits. Such a figure could potentially navigate through the dense forest of Soviet politics and ideology, offering a different archetype of heroism and success within the Socialist Republic. Imagine for a moment Soviet filmmakers exploring narratives where bodybuilders, with their exaggerated musculature, were not just physical specimens but carriers of complex, emotive stories, perhaps even embodying the struggles and aspirations of the Soviet citizen. Soviet magazines could have juxtaposed the stark, often robust representation of labor with the finely tuned aesthetics of bodybuilding, initiating dialogues about physicality, beauty, and strength amidst the prevailing cultural and ideological narratives. Advertising and marketing in the USSR, traditionally laden with imagery that prioritized collective effort and state achievement, might have found in bodybuilding a new canvas to explore, perhaps even exploit. Picture advertisements where brawny men and powerful women symbolized not just physical strength, but a form of individualistic achievement within the collective umbrella of the state. Could bodybuilders have become the face of products, from nutrition supplements to sports gear, embodying a robust and healthy lifestyle endorsed by the state? The tendrils of this imagined historical trajectory twine seamlessly into considerations of the sport's hypothetical legacy within the USSR and its successor, the Russian Federation. Envision a Russia where the seeds sown by a flourishing bodybuilding culture in the Soviet era blossomed into vibrant expressions of physical culture, diversified athletic pursuits, and perhaps a slightly altered international image. Russian bodybuilders might have become global ambassadors of their culture, showcasing not just physical prowess but a nuanced, multifaceted aspect of Russian identity that encompassed both collective and individual achievements. While these speculative musings remain firmly anchored in the realm of imagination, they offer a tantalizing glimpse into an alternate timeline. A timeline where the muscular aesthetics of bodybuilding interweave with the societal, cultural, and even political tapestry of the USSR and Russia, crafting a narrative where individual physicality and collective ideology flex and intertwine in a nuanced dance of might, aspiration, and national identity. In this imagined space, the silent echo of clashing weights and triumphant roars of bodybuilding contests become more than mere physical pursuits. They symbolize a complex, multi-threaded exploration of self and society amidst the bulging muscles and gleaming trophies of hypothetical heroes and heroines. And so, dear viewers, we draw a curtain on a speculative journey through a USSR that might have embraced the sweat, symmetry, and spectacle of bodybuilding. A world where muscles not only symbolized strength, but also became a canvas for individual expression, cultural dialogues, and, potentially, an alternate expression of Soviet and Russian identity. If you enjoyed this exploration, click that like button and subscribe for more thought-provoking adventures. Until next time,